So today in the shop, we've got a 2012 Chevy Cruze with a 1.4 liter turbocharged Ecotec engine. Now the customer's got a lot of concerns here. It's got no power, it's going in limp-in mode. And so obviously the first thing we're gonna do is plug in the scan tool, check for diagnostic trouble codes. As you can see, we've got a ton of different trouble codes stored here. And so, we're gonna jump into each of these individually. But right away, a couple of these jump out, and this is something I've run into before and wanted to share with you. Notice we've got boost sensor codes and upstream O2 codes. Now, when we look at the data stream here, we can see that really both of these are dead. We've got really nothing on the boost sensor, and the upstream O2 is stuck around 2 volts. Really no activity here. So if we look under the hood, we see the boost sensor, and then we also see the upstream O2 sensor here. I don't know what's been done to this thing. I know it was previously at a couple different shops. Some different people were doing it. The customer just purchased the vehicle. So we don't know the history here. But this is something I've run into before after people have worked on these vehicles. I may have even learned this myself the hard way. So this is the upstream O2, and we see this connector here. And so I'm going to just unplug it. And then we look at the boost sensor here. We see this is kind of a slide lock style connector. And what happened, these are swapped. These are in the wrong locations. So somebody's had this apart and they plugged in these connectors into the wrong circuits. So you can see I swapped that around there. This one, there's 2 different ways of getting it in. And so you can see we slide it in, we lock it in place, and I should route that over here. But for illustration purposes, I wanted to show you just these 2 connectors and how easily they could be confused. So as we look at the data stream here, we can see that our upstream O2 sensor is working. So it looks like we've solved that trouble code, but we're still not getting data out of the boost sensor. Might be a faulty sensor, something else going on in the circuitry here. But my tip today is when you're working on one of these things, make sure that you don't mix up these connectors.